Good evening. I'd like to call to order the meeting of the Finance Committee. The members of the Finance Committee will include myself as chair, Councilor, don't see Gould.
He's not here tonight.
Councilor Manning Martin, Councilor McGinn, Councilor Rosignol, and I'll ask Councilor Melville to sit in for Councilor Gould. All other members are welcome to participate. First item on the agenda is the Tannery 1 Apartments at 18 Crowninshield Road. Request for support and approval for a commitment of $750,000 for inclusion zoning funds. Mr. Gingrich.
Thank you. I think the mayor wants to talk on this.
Mr. Mayor.
Well, good evening, Council. Very happy to be here today with all of you for an extremely important issue that I think all of us care deeply about and have been working very hard over the last several months to try to make this a reality. And I won't give the long-winded version of what has brought us here today, but I think all of you are familiar with the steps that we've taken to make this investment and to help the Tannery Apartments and all of those residents that would be affected by a change. We were notified or learned that the 40-year agreement to keep the tannery, the 284 units affordable, had expired very recently. At that time, the property owner has the opportunity to put the property up for sale, which they did do, and there was a very large bid, $37.5 million for that property. Thankfully, we have in this state Chapter 40T, which allows a state-chosen developer to come in and match that offer. And if they do so match, then those properties, those homes would remain affordable for the residents. Thankfully, we had a company, Wiggin company, came forward with interest in that property to have that as part of their portfolio. I think many of you are familiar with Wiggin. They do an outstanding job, and we were very fortunate that they were interested in bidding on the property and making that a part of their portfolio. They did match the number of $37.5 million, a significant number, and through a series of meetings and through a number of efforts by many people, we were able to make this deal work. And we, as a city of Peabody, made a commitment of significant funds, which were taken out of two pockets. One is the community preservation money, and I believe the number we were looking at was $850,000, and then $750,000 from the inclusionary zoning number in order to make our commitment and our investment in the future of the Tannery Apartments and keeping those units affordable for a couple of important reasons. First and foremost is the needs of our residents over at the Tannery. We needed to make sure that they were protected, that their interests and homes were protected, and to keep them here in the city of Peabody. Secondly, of less importance, but also important, is the fact that our 10% inclusionary zoning requirement is not met. We're getting closer, but we are still shy of the 10% required. Losing these units to our number would be a significant blow to the city's efforts and would really put us in jeopardy of some future development that we may not be supportive of or may not want here in the city of Peabody. So this was important to make this commitment to win and to make this happen. All of you have been involved in this. I did want to thank Councilor McGinn for his work going to meetings. I want to thank Councilor Manning Martin for her advocacy. But I know this was all important to all of us to make this a reality and protect our neighbors and the residents here. The request is for $1.6 million to make the investment to win. I see them here. I haven't had an opportunity to say hello yet, but I wanted to thank them. They've been outstanding partners and worked very hard to make this a reality. I wanted to thank Community Preservation Committee, which unanimously approved this project or this funding from Community Preservation. And I think this is the next step here And again, I think this is the right move for the city of Peabody for a number of reasons. Most importantly is to protect our residents that are here and give them peace of mind that their homes are protected, and we're doing all we can for them. I'm certainly here to answer any questions. Mike Gingras, Finance Director, certainly available to answer any questions. And I see, again, Wynn Company and Attorney Ankleys are here as well. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. McGinn.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and through you to Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for your leadership on this issue. You played a central role in getting us to this point, so thank you so much for that. I strongly support this. I supported it here at the council, and I supported it at the CPC. I just want to point out one correction to the materials councilors have before them tonight. The draft motion dated April 10th lists $950,000 from community preservation, community housing. That should be $850,000 to be consistent with the motion that was approved at the CPC. There will be another $100,000 added for the total commitment of $1.7 million, but as stipulated in the mayor's letter to Wynn, which was dated October of last year, which is actually part of the applicant's, the CPC application from Wynn. The commitment was made over a 2 fiscal year period, so it'll be 1.6 total available in the current fiscal year, and an additional $100,000 available in the next fiscal year, 2020. So while I am prepared to make that motion, I'll defer to other councilors before doing so. Mr. Chairman, thank you.
Are there other questions by the council? Seeing none, Council McGinn.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Move to approve the appropriation request and appropriate from account number 270-0000-33023, Community Preservation, Community Housing, $850,000, and from account number 270-0000-33013, inclusionary zoning, in an amount of $750,000 for a total of $1.6 million. A total of $1.6 million for the preservation of Tannery 1 affordable units. The City of Peabody Community Development Department shall administer and disperse such funds to Tannery Limited Partnership and/or Wynn Development Company Limited Partnership as Community Development Department determined milestones are achieved. So moved.
On the motion, any comments? Seeing none from the council, roll call.
Councilors Melville,
Yes.
McGinn,
Yes.
Rozignol,
Yes.
Manning Martin,
Yes.
Gravel.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Take a motion to adjourn.
Mr. Chairman?
Up, I'll take a comment from Councilor Manning Martin.
Thank you very much. I just wanted to seize an opportunity, since Wynn is here, and since the city has advocated and worked so well in making this happen with the cooperation of community development as well. I had been contacted by some residents at Crown and Shield. Given that we have a new ownership there with Wynn, they were hoping that with the new ownership, a neighborhood safety committee might be able to be developed. As you know, we have a lot of seniors, disabled, single mothers with young children, single parents with young children. So they had hoped that they would have an opportunity with Wynn to reach out, sit down, and develop that type of residential neighborhood safety committee that could meet regularly and share their concerns with the development. And I also kind of floated this by Deputy Chief Marty Cohan, and he thought it was a great idea too. So I think that the police department would be open as well to getting that kind of safety network going. So I was wondering if we could hear from Win on their thoughts on that?
Certainly. Would a representative from Wynn want to come up and speak on that?
I think that's a great idea, Counselor.
And
Mr. O'Brien.
if you would, please state your name and address for the record.
Michael O'Brien, Executive Vice President with Wind Companies, 6 Faneuil Hall Marketplace, Boston, Massachusetts, 02109. First, I'd like to say a great thank you from Wind Companies and Wind Development and our other partners, including the Commonwealth of Massachusetts and Mass Housing. This has been an absolute pleasure working side by side with the City of Peabody, the Mayor, Councilor McGinn, and this council, as well as the departments. We have had a tough run. It was a challenge, but together we got there, and we're very pleased that we're at this juncture, and we're looking forward to being neighbors and working side by side with you, both at the tannery and in the community as a whole. Once we're here, we view ourselves as being part of the community and want to integrate as much as we can with all the great things happening here in the city. As to your question on forming a neighborhood watch and working side by side on safety, that's what we're all about. And we look forward to meeting with the residents as a group and introducing ourselves and talking a little bit about the future as we are going to invest a significant amount of money in the property, improving all of their quality of life as well as all the real estate. As it pertains to safety, we take that very serious, and in our capital improvements, we'll be installing camera systems, door entry, and security at all the entries to the apartments, and be working side by side with the residents to make sure they're familiar with all those security enhancements. And we look forward to working with Peabody PD and other neighbors in the area in order to improve the quality of life and safety overall.
That's great. So if, when that's formulated, if you could just maybe shoot us a letter that it's been completed and kind of share the information, and then we can just kind of follow up with those residents, or the residents could follow up with us once they're identified and the mechanism is in place. That would be great.
Certainly, through you, Mr. Chairman, we'll work through the mayor's office and make sure that gets distributed.
It's great. Thank you so much, sir. Welcome.
Councilor McGinn?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just before we recess, before we adjourn, one other quick administrative thing. Somehow the CPC vote tally and sheet that's typically included was not included in our package, and I see the clerk left it on our desk, so move to receive that late communication and include it in the record.
On the motion, all in favor, any opposed to vote?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Move to adjourn.
One item, the mayor would like to speak one more item. Mr. Mayor.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just very briefly, there is one final step that I wanted to inform the council of that we're working on, both City of Peabody and Wind Companies. There's a dam, I think some of you are familiar, that runs down Crown and Shield to this, through this property, a sluice gate and culvert. We have been working with Wind Companies to do a transfer that they would deed the property over to us, this slight dam. We think it's actually beneficial to the City of Peabody to have control of that dam to allow us to help with making sure it's clear during storms. And we've had issues in the past about getting access to that sluice gate to clear it. And we think that having control of that sluice gate and that dam will allow us to help with some of the flood mitigation efforts. That work is being done now in conjunction with the Conservation Commission and others. I will be presenting to you very shortly a request to allow me to enter into a purchase, a sale, and a deed to have that property transferred over to us. We think it's beneficial to us to have that. That'll only be done with the understanding that the repair work and everything is already completed by Wind Companies before the transfer is given to us. But we think it's an important step for us, and to get this deal done, that's a requirement. And it's also, as I said, very beneficial to the City of Peabody. I'll be bringing that forward with greater information in the very near future, but I just want to let you know that there is one final step here.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Anybody else? Seeing none, I'll take a motion to adjourn. So moved.